The last time I spoke to my ex-husband, he dropped off a box of old photos and said, "I don't know what's worth keeping anymore." I told him to just leave it on the porch, but sometimes I look through those pictures hoping to understand what we lost before we even knew it was gone. The last time I saw my ex-husband, I didn't even open the door all the way. I was in sweatpants, hair in a bun. We'd been divorced for almost 8 months, and I didn't think I'd see him again in person. Not like that. It was a Thursday night. I had just finished wiping down the counters after dinner. The dishwasher was humming, and I was debating whether to pour myself a second glass of wine when the doorbell rang. Not a knock. The bell. He always rang the bell like he was a delivery guy, even when we were married. I used to tease him about that. "You live here, you know." I didn't even think before opening it. I just knew it was him. He was standing there holding a cardboard box, one of those beat-up storage kinds with the handles tearing on the sides. He looked old somehow. Tired. I noticed his shoes were muddy. And he was wearing that dark blue jacket I once told him made him look like someone's dad. He didn't smile. "I found these," he said, lifting the box a little. "Stuff from the storage unit. Thought maybe you'd want them." I didn't move. I didn't even reach for the door. "Just leave it on the porch," I said. My voice came out colder than I meant, but I didn't take it back. He paused, looked down at the box, then back up at me. "I don't know what's worth keeping anymore," he said. And then he set the box down. He didn't try to hand it to me, didn't ask to come in, just turned and walked back to his car. No goodbye. I didn't say anything either. I just closed the door. Slowly. Like I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave it cracked. I let the box sit out there for 2 days. Maybe 3. It rained the second night, and I remember wondering if the water had soaked through. But I didn't bring it in. I couldn't. Not yet. When I finally did, it was after midnight. I didn't turn on the big lights. Just the little lamp near the couch. I sat down on the floor with the box in front of me like it was a time capsule I wasn't sure I wanted to open. Inside was a mess. Photos, envelopes, cards, movie stubs, postcards, grocery lists, random junk. Nothing in order. Just bits and pieces of a life that doesn't exist anymore. There's a photo of us at the Oregon coast, him squinting into the wind, and me wrapped in a scarf, laughing like I wasn't freezing. We had taken that trip 5 years into our marriage. I remember we fought the whole drive there. About money, I think. Or maybe his mom. And yet, the picture looked perfect. There was a napkin with my handwriting on it. "Pick up milk and cat litter. THX smiley face." I don't remember writing it, but I recognized the pen. That old blue ink I used to like. There were drawings too, crayon sketches from my niece when she stayed with us that summer. I had almost forgotten those weeks. How the house felt full for once. How he read to her on the couch while I folded laundry in the hall and just listened. One photo made me stop breathing for a second. It was him, asleep on the old plaid couch we got from Craigslist, holding my feet in his lap while I pretended to watch a movie. I remember that night. I had just found out my friend was cheating on her husband. I didn't tell him about it. I don't know why. I just curled up with him instead. We didn't even talk. And now I wonder if that was the beginning of us not talking. Because that's how it happened. Not all at once. Just a slow, quiet pulling away. A few inches at a time. I started staying late at work. He stopped asking what I wanted for dinner. I pretended not to notice when he started sleeping on the far side of the bed. We were polite. Friendly even. But not close. Not anymore. I remember once, maybe 2 years before the divorce, we were sitting at breakfast and he looked at me and said, "Do you still like me?" Not love. Like. I didn't answer. I just took a bite of toast and changed the subject. And maybe that was the beginning of the end. I used to think we needed a big reason for the divorce. Some dramatic story. But we didn't have one. We just stopped working. Like something broke inside both of us, and neither of us wanted to look too closely at it. I still look through that box sometimes. Late at night. When it's quiet. When I can't sleep. I'll pull out a photo, or a postcard, or an old scribbled note. And I'll just sit there with it. Not crying. Not angry. Just confused. How did something that felt so full become so empty? Sometimes I wonder if he ever looks back at any of it, if he kept anything, or if he really meant it when he said, I don't know what's worth keeping anymore. Because I'm still here, trying to figure that out. About a week after he dropped off the box, I got a text from his sister. Did you get the photos? I stared at it for a few seconds before replying.
Yeah.
Thanks. She didn't answer. That was weird. We weren't close, but she was always nice to me. When the divorce happened, she was one of the few people who didn't take sides. She even sent me a Christmas card that year with a little note inside. Hope you're doing okay. I think about you sometimes. So I called her. Something felt off. When she picked up, she sounded surprised. Like she hadn't expected me to call her ever.
Oh, hey.
You okay? She asked. I got the photos, I said. Thanks, I guess. There was a pause. Then she said, he shouldn't have brought them. I blinked. What do you mean? He's not in a good place right now. My stomach did that thing where it drops before your brain catches up.
Why?
What's going on? She hesitated, and when she spoke again, her voice was softer. He got laid off 3 weeks ago. Didn't tell anyone at first. Then last week, he told me he's thinking about selling the place. Said he can't afford it anymore. I sat down. Just slowly lowered myself to the couch like the air had gone heavy. He didn't tell me, I said.
I don't even know why I said that.
Like it was supposed to mean something. You're not married anymore, she said, not mean, just stating it. He doesn't tell anyone much these days. I hung up not long after that. Said thanks, that I hoped he was okay. But I couldn't stop thinking about it.
The house. The job.
The box. That line. I don't know what's worth keeping anymore. I thought it was just about the photos. About us. But maybe it was more than that. I didn't call him. I wanted to. I opened my phone more than once. Typed out messages I never sent. Do you need anything? Want to talk? I heard about your job. Then deleted everyone. Because I didn't know what I was trying to be. His friend? His ex-wife? A ghost from the past checking in out of guilt? But then something else happened. I found the photo. It was folded between 2 pieces of notebook paper in the bottom of the box. I almost missed it. It was a picture of a woman.
Not me.
Not someone I recognized. She was standing in what looked like our old backyard, near the garden I built the second year we lived there. She was holding a mug. Wearing his flannel. There was a date written on the back. It was from a year before the divorce. I stared at it for a long time. Not angry. Not heartbroken. Just numb. Because now the silence made more sense. The distance. The way he stopped touching me at night. The way he looked right through me at dinner. The way I started pulling away, too, even if I didn't know why. I never asked if he'd met someone else. And now I didn't have to. I kept that photo in a drawer for 2 days before I looked at it again. The second time, I really studied it. The background. The light. Her face. She wasn't smiling. Just looking slightly to the side, like she didn't know she was being photographed. That hit me the hardest. Because he used to do that with me. Take pictures when I wasn't looking. Said those were the real ones. Not posed. Just me. I flipped the photo over again. The date on the back wasn't just a year before the divorce. It was 2 weeks before our anniversary. The last one we celebrated. The one where he took me to a cabin near Mount Hood and barely touched me the whole weekend. I remembered thinking he was stressed. Quiet. I thought maybe it was work. Maybe I'd done something wrong. Now I wondered if he'd just wanted to be somewhere else. With someone else. I didn't confront him. I didn't ask questions. Not yet. Instead, I did something worse. I drove to the storage unit. It was still listed under both our names. We'd never gotten around to taking me off the paperwork. I still had the key on my ring, buried behind gym tags I hadn't used in a year. I hadn't been back since the split. It smelled like dust and stale cardboard. And something else, something faintly floral. Like cheap perfume. There was a scarf in the corner. Not mine. Not anything I recognized. And next to it, a duffel bag. Still zipped. Still sitting like it was waiting for someone. I opened it. Inside were clothes. A bottle of shampoo. A hairbrush with long strands still caught in it. I stood there holding that brush for a long time until my hand started to shake. He had a woman staying here, or hiding her here, and suddenly, everything rearranged itself in my mind. All those nights, he said, he had to work late. All those weekends he needed space. The business trips that didn't add up. The silence. The flat look in his eyes that I kept calling stress. I left without touching anything else. Locked it behind me. Drove home without music. Didn't cry. Just kept thinking over and over, who is she? And why did he leave her behind too? Because the photos were back with me now. The woman's scarf, the brush, left in a dusty unit. And him?
No job.
No home soon, maybe. Was she gone too? Had he lost everything? I didn't know what hurt more, that he had betrayed me, or that maybe he ended up just as empty as I did. And then the final twist came 2 days later. He called me. Not a text. Not a knock. A call. And I answered it. When I picked up the call, I didn't say anything. Just held the phone to my ear and waited. He didn't say hi. Didn't ask how I was. He just said, "I didn't think you'd find the photo." It was quiet after that. I could hear him breathing. Maybe walking around. Maybe sitting in his car. I finally said, "You left it in the box." I didn't mean to. Then why was it in there? He paused. Because I haven't opened that box in months. It was hers. She left it at the unit. So I was right. I'd been right about everything. I didn't ask for her name. Didn't ask how long. Or why. I wasn't even sure what I wanted to hear anymore. She knew about me? I asked instead. He hesitated. Then, yeah. I waited for him to say more. To explain. To apologize. But he didn't. She stayed at the storage unit? I asked. That part still didn't make sense. Not stayed, he said, almost irritated. Just sometimes. When we needed somewhere. My stomach turned. Like I was hearing something too raw, too ugly even now. He kept talking. Like he'd been waiting to tell someone, maybe anyone. She was married. It wasn't we didn't plan it. She left her husband. Said she wanted to be with me. But after the divorce, it just fell apart. And you kept her things? He didn't answer that. I said, "You know I went there. To the unit. I figured you would." His voice dropped. "That's why I called." He sounded tired. Not just physically. Like a person who's finally said something out loud they'd been choking on. I didn't know how to let go of any of it, he said. You. Her. All of it. I kept thinking maybe some version of my life would come back. You thought you could hold on to both? I asked. Is that what this was? No, he said quietly. I thought I could leave both behind without it killing me. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Then he said something I didn't expect. She sent you a letter. After we split. Did you ever get it? I froze. What? She said she wrote you. Said she owed it to you. Said she put it in your mailbox. I never got a letter. I checked my mailbox every day back then. Like something was coming that would make sense of all the silence. I thought maybe he'd reach out. Maybe I'd understand something. But a letter? I stood up, started pacing. When was this? Few weeks after I moved out. She said she just wanted you to know it wasn't all your fault. That I was already gone before we ended. I felt dizzy. You believed her? I asked. He didn't answer. Because the truth was I already knew. I was right about the affair. Right about the silence. Right about the fact that we were both just living in different versions of the same lie. I ended the call without saying goodbye. And then I did something I hadn't done in almost a year. I went outside, stood by the mailbox in the dark, and opened it. Empty. Like always.